Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of the Middle Georgia Spotlight. I'm your host, Jack Ellis. We're glad to have you with us again this week. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Caduceus Medicine, J. Franklin Automotives, and the good people here at WMUB, Channel 38 at Mercer University. And let me don't hesitate to say right here that the views expressed on this program, not necessarily those of Mercer University, WMUB, but those of you, and not necessarily our sponsors, but those of myself and our guests. So we'd like to thank you all for joining us and on this program. But in the spotlight this week is a man needs no introduction throughout the Middle Georgia area, and that's Mr. Alex Habersham. Mr. Alex Habersham is the founding publisher of the Middle Georgia Black Pages, in addition to Middle Georgia Enterprises, Habersham Enterprises, I guess, Habersham Records, and I could go on and on. But welcome to our program. Good to have you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
And congratulations on some things that you've been doing recently. I really wanted to talk to you. In addition to your annual thing that you're doing, bringing businesses together, business expos, but you've been involved in trying to get more African American businesses downtown in the mainstream to make sure that they get a piece of this pie. What brought that about, and why that's so important?
Well, I've been involved in the development and promotion of African American businesses ever since I started the Black Pages 27 years ago. But I began to notice that downtown is really thriving, but it is not adequately represented by African American businesses. So I approached Newtown Macon, and I know the president, President Underwood just left, who's the chairman of Newtown Macon, about maybe let's do something about that. And Josh Rogers agreed, and we submitted a proposal to the Community Foundation, and they granted it. And my charge was twofold. First of all, to find at least 3 African-American businesses that we could get to locate downtown. And secondly, was to initiate a seminar and a program to attract more African-American consumers downtown by having a program to inform and educate majority businesses and African-American businesses on how to attract more African-American consumers. We don't want downtown to be just for a particular segment, and it's really not, because you got 32 African-American businesses downtown already. Some people don't realize that. And we're going to be touting and exposing them. But we also want to try to educate the community on what makes African-American consumerism tick.
You've always read the numbers about the billion. You said we have this much spending power with the B. I remember you saying billions with the B. Now, but some people would say, Ms. Habersham, is that what we need to be doing, and I'm not one of those naysayers, I congratulate you on what you're doing downtown, would say, what about the heart of the black community itself? Why aren't we working to improve business conditions so that people don't have to go so far to get a loaf of bread, go so far to get a pain pill, drugstores, nothing is located back in those communities? How can that come?
That is a point that's well taken, but somebody has to have the initiative. You know, you can't expect, let me tell you something. I got a problem with expecting government to do everything. We got $3.5 billion of dispensable income. So, in
the Bibb County, the Middle Georgia area?
Middle Georgia.
Middle Georgia.
Middle Georgia.
Give me that number again.
3.5 billion. Now,
that's no laughing matter.
No, it's not. But with that kind of consumerism, then it seems to me that some smart group or individual, who understands that the spending power is there, could say, well, let's set up a grocery store. Let's set up a repair shop.
Let's open a bank.
Let's open a bank in the community. So, let me tell you something, Jack. My motto is, if it is to be, it's up to me. And I think that needs to be the kind of attitude that prevails throughout the community. Everybody can make a difference. We can't just sit back and say, well, you know this and you know that. Don't just stand there, do something. So I think we'll get to that. We can start with downtown, and I'm hopeful that through the success of these businesses, maybe our next initiative will be Pleasant Hill. or Unionville. And if I could quickly say this, see, a lot of people don't understand that businesses are just as important to a community as are programs. I mean, you could have, food stamps and milk and all kind of nonprofits and what have you, but if you got businesses in those neighborhoods, then they can hire young people, they can contribute, to the different activities in the community, but most importantly, they can be role models, and they can inspire some of our young people to be. I was inspired. Fortunately, it was by teachers. George Espy, is the reason I went to college and majored in what I majored. So we can influence young people, just like I was influenced educationally. Other young people can be influenced economically and entrepreneurially. So that's my feeling on that.
Well, you just don't talk to talk, Alex. You walk to walk. You own the newspaper in this town, Macon Courier, to inform people. Now you have a radio and television program doing likewise called Call to Action.
A call to action.
So you're not new at this. It's not.
But I want to be good as you at this.
Well, I don't know about that, but what I do know, I listen to your program on 100.1, and the topics are always germane to and relevant to what we should be doing. So you're not just, what I'm saying, some people just talk, but you're talking and doing. You own a business, and you're bringing other people. You're not just saying, I got mine, everybody else, you're bringing other businesses downtown and trying to get them into the mix at all. Where did that come from? Where, you said Mr. Espy inspired you to go to school, but where did this entrepreneurial spirit come? Was it your father? Was it, because, you're about the same age I am, and when we grew up,
maybe
we had,
yeah,
maybe, but there were successful black-owned businesses. There was Douglas Theater, there were the restaurants, but they were there because we couldn't go anywhere.
It was segregation.
Because of segregation. So where did you get your entrepreneur, this desire? Because you're a teacher by training and profession.
Absolutely.
And an English teacher at
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
So where did you get this desire, this drive to get into business and bring other people?
I think it's innate. I just think that because it wasn't my father, my daddy was a preacher, my mama was a domestic for many years before getting a job at Robbins Air Force Base. I didn't have any relatives, who were in business, but even back in high school, I was the editor of the newspaper, and I wrote an editorial in the high school newspaper.
Bibb County, Ballard Hudson had a newspaper?
Ballard
That means I wasn't reading it.
Ballard, I think they call it the Maroon Tiger or something of that nature.
Yes, I do remember.
And I said that the part of what I was saying is that in that editorial when I was 16 or 17 years old, that we need to lift ourselves up by our own bootstraps, and that we got resources in our community, and this has been over 50 years ago, that we need to take advantage of. So somehow it has been embedded in me. And you talk about businesses, I've been in 9 different ones throughout my lifetime. And then what I tried, and it was a mistake.
To be in so many?
Yes, sir.
Or to fail?
Yes, sir.
They didn't fail, but just to try so
to
many.
be in so many. Well, I couldn't do it. I couldn't handle it.
You weren't ready for it?
No, I didn't have the resources. If you're going to have a car wash and a
Sparkle and shine, I remember it.
and a newspaper and a record shop, and a game room.
And a nightclub.
And a nightclub. I forgot about 10. Well, unless you got a lot of money, then to be able to hire managers, ain't no way that I could really effectively manage all of those things. Now, they did all right, let me hasten to say. But then I started with a record shop.
And it's still here today.
Yeah.
An institution in this town.
It's tough. I gave it to my sister several years ago. Well, she paid me for it.
Sure.
And then I opened a record shop in Fort Valley. Habersham Music. You know, with Habersham Records in Macon, Habersham Music in Fort Valley. But then what I did, I opened a car wash, man. A car wash, full service car wash.
I remember.
I know
on
you
Broadway.
did. I know it. On Hazel. Broadway and Hazel at the intersection.
The building is still there now.
No, they tore it down.
They tore it down now?
Yeah, they just tore it down. But the point of the matter is, you know, so then you spread because it's not related.
Okay.
And I told somebody I'm trying to help Roger Jackson with that program that he's doing called the Adult Readiness Program.
Okay.
You know, wherein he's trying to go to the hood or go out in the community and find people with records and find people who think they can't be employed. He's gotten certain industries and companies to hire them. So Bob Ficklin and Shanita Davis and I, you know, we handling the soft skills. And then some of the other industries, like Macon Power Day and Navison and Coliseum, they have agreed to hire them. Well, the point is that if, in fact, you know, we can reach out and pull together, you know, then we can make a real difference in the community. Mm-hmm. So, and I tried, Jack, let me tell you this. I tried to do everything, man.
Because there's so much to be done.
Yeah, and that was during the time, you know, when things were opening up. So I started opening one business after the other. But I wasn't rich. You know, I didn't have the kind of money, nor the borrowing power, you know, to hire good managers, you know, to do all of those things.
But you've stuck with it, and now you're promoting other young entrepreneurs, trying to get them. So I just read a report that I got from my good friend, the former mayor of New Orleans, Mark Morial, who's now the CEO of the Urban League.
Okay.
And he sent me a report, the state of Black America economically, and it's the state of Black America. What would, if you had to put that in the macro, if you will, and I asked you that same question, if you had to produce a report, and I guess you do in a way with your magazine, but you're promoting, if you had to produce a report, the state of business, or just the state of Black Macon, on a scale, if you grade it like you used to grade in school, A through F, where would we be?
C.
A C.
And I'll tell you why. And it's self-inflicted. We did a lot better when Dr. Martin and Mr. Hutchins,
Mr. Thompson over at
Dr. Walton, when they all lived in the neighborhood, you know, and they all took an interest in improving Pleasant Hill. Well, as a result of integration, many of the middle class and upper middle class individuals moved out of the neighborhood. And I'm not saying this them specifically, but those of us, many of us, who benefited from the civil rights movement, turned our backs on our community. You know, and so that's who we have to put it on, you know, because that's what Dr. King intended for you and for me to do better and uplift somebody else, you know, and too often we put it on other entities, but a lot of it is us. Somebody said, you know, about the fish stock. Somebody told this guy who had moved over the River North and doing well, said, hey man, I'm going to the fish stop over there. You know what the fish stop is?
on my beat.
To get some fish. Oh man, I'm not going over there. You know, you go over there. You know, and it's that kind of attitude. So the first group that I want to charge with uplifting our community is those of us. You know, it's my generation. It's my generation who did better. You know, we started working at IBM and got these good jobs and we could live anywhere we wanted to live. But we need to be ever conscious of the fact that we are doing this. My daddy never would have been able to have a business on, well, yeah, he could have had one on Cotton Avenue. But
not on Cherry Street.
But not on Cherry Street. You see where I'm going?
Exactly.
We need to talk about that in a minute, too.
Yeah, I do want to talk about it.
Yeah, so it's just incumbent upon us as a people to understand. We're talking about the state. Now, watch me. We're talking about the state of the Black economics. Last time I checked, throughout the United States. We making trillions of dollars, but we're not using it, some of it, wisely. So if some of that money could be converted and diverted and inserted into our community, then we would be better off economically. And that's why I do the Black Pages.
Yeah. Let's talk about Cotton Avenue Revival. Now, you gave me your, not permission, but you were okay. You owned businesses on what was then Cotton Avenue, and you said it was okay if I named the street. I put forth the idea to name the street after Dr. D.T. Walton for a couple of reasons. Not because we didn't want to recognize Cotton Avenue, but I was afraid that down the road, that building would get torn down, the name would be changed, and we wouldn't know that he maybe have a plaque someplace. How important is it that Cotton Avenue, we can still call it the Cotton Avenue Revival, even though it's D.T. Walton in that particular area. How important is the revival for not only the revival, but to have black people involved in that revival, not just people.
Well, you're gonna make me cry. You're gonna make me shed some tears, because when you mention Cotton Avenue, all the way, from Spring Street. Spring Street goes all the way up there.
Exactly.
Where Ruth Hartley Mosley is,
That's a name for you, too, that did some good work. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the Spring Street down to Poplar. That used to be a mecca for African-American banks, real estate offices, a Moon barbershop, a hotel, Duval, Hutchins, insurance companies, and a lot of people don't realize that right there next to where Otis Redding, first had his building.
Red Wall, right there.
We are across the street from there. Do you know that big park?
Yeah.
That big park right next to the brick building, just right across the alley from Red Wall?
Yes.
That was a hotel. The Mitchell Building.
Yes.
It was a 5-star, so it was just and Duval and Hutchins and everybody used to, all kind of highly successful black businesses used to be right there. You might have 2 or 3 left, because after Mr. Billingsley died, he owned that whole track up there where he was. But, it's been so, where I am right there, it used to be 3 businesses that were owned by African Americans. Now I'm the only one that's left as it relates to the landlord. So
and churches are leaving, predominantly black historic churches.
Tremont Temple gone.
Yes, the Douglas House was torn down. So when do we preserve this, and not only just preserve it to the fact that we can pay tribute to it, but to make it productive again, to create that entrepreneurial spirit that you have and others had back in the day, that we just not looking for a job, but we're creating jobs.
Well, it takes an ever-present conscientiousness. Now, we got one part of the puzzle solved. That's the income, man.
We can buy stuff.
Yeah, we can buy stuff. And then let me hasten to say, it's kind of the disclaimer you did. Let me hasten to say that I don't think at all that it needs to be from a separatist angle.
You never have.
I don't think that, because we can't make it by ourselves. But I think there's an old saying that says, a rising tide raises the whole ship. So as these African-American businesses do better, we hire more people, they can give some young people jobs, it will be less crime, we can contribute to the non-profits, we can contribute to the churches, we can be involved in the community, So if, in fact, we could get that economic arm to flowing the way it should, then it's going to improve the entire community. And a lot of community people understand and support that, and that's why they support the Black Pages. I'm talking about majority of people.
Of course, because they going after those eyeballs that's reading it in their pocketbooks.
Because they know, first of all, about the African-American consumerism, and then they also know about the importance of a viable African-American business community. So you got major corporations supporting the Black Pages. The other thing, Jack, and I need to say this the right way, but we need to be conscientious about our money. You know what I'm saying? So what I
Teach
try
your
to
dollars some sense.
yeah, teach your dollar, and that doesn't mean just spend money with black businesses. But I do think that we need to make these businesses with which we spend our money responsible. Just
Give back
and
into-
give back and act like they appreciate us, and don't just take our money, and and not understand that the community needs support. And many of them do. Let me hasten to say,
Yeah.
many of them do. Otherwise,
You would, yeah, exactly.
you know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk about this downtown. You talked about the immersion, if you will, getting more black businesses downtown, successful and getting monies into them and that. And we know why that's important. And I think you said maybe eventually we can get into the other neighborhoods and do some things. But right now you're saying that's to be the focus.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that we need to stop there.
Oh, okay.
But
let's perfect it. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this first. But then that doesn't mean that if somebody, look, Jack, I could not have done this project with bringing those. My charge was 3. We brought 5. And they're going to be opening downtown. An interior designer, a lady who's selling dog treats, mall punch interior design. She can do virtual designs, She's going to be downtown. Goody Boy Dog Treats, She's going to have a location downtown selling dog treats. A lot of dogs downtown,
I know
it. A Brookhaven nightclub on Cherry Street. It's going to be a nice, smooth, and sophisticated lounge. It's going to be a graphic design company, and Carbell's Beauty Supply.
Yeah.
She gonna move. She gonna get a
on
location.
Pinona now, I think.
She gonna expand.
Good.
She's not closing her business. So we were able to get 5, and 3 of them are already located downtown. We're looking for spaces for the other, and we're gonna ask for more. We're gonna ask to increase the number because I think it's a small percentage. I don't remember what the percentage of African American businesses downtown is, but I do know the percentage of African American population is 54%.
Yeah. And I want to ask you a question, and if you have some other thing, we don't have much time. Speaking of buying power and speaking of economic power of black people, I read recently, and I'm sure Macon is no different because I've done some research, says after the Great Recession, or during the Great Recession, the greatest, and this goes back to you as a tax assessor, your professional job you had before you retired, that it was the greatest transfer of wealth ever, second to slavery in this country, was the Great Recession, because the value of homes in the quote-unquote black communities went so low, and they've never come back. But yet in other communities they have come back. So therefore the equity, all this equity disappeared. They can't get an appraisal worth anything in some communities, so therefore their equity is wiped out if they want to get an equity loan or something. What can we do about that, man?
Well, what we're gonna have to do is improve the neighborhood. What's influenced, there's a thing called the market approach. And the market approach is centered around the viability and attractability of the neighborhood.
So you're saying redlining is just going to be here with us?
No,
because that's basically what it is.
But what I'm trying to tell you, if I live on Cortland Avenue and I want my house to stay valuable, you hear me?
Yeah.
Then I need to make sure, do all I can do. I don't just accept it, do all I can do. And I understand redlining, and I'm not saying that other things are not at fault. But you know what I always preach, man?
What's that?
Do something. What can you do to improve rather than complain, and I know it's wrong.
But
like Black Wall Street, I understand all that. It's wrong.
Yeah. I'm going to, I don't know whether you read my mail or what, I just sold a house on Cortland.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I bought that house in '06.
That's why you looked at me like
Yeah,
that, huh?
yeah. I bought that house in '06 at an appraiser, not a drive-by appraiser, a good appraiser, for $99,000. I even took some money out because it had equity going in. I sold that house last year, the best appraisal I could get, and my property was in pretty good shape. I lived there myself for a while. The best appraisal I could get was $45,000 because of the comps, not because
That's
of
what
my
I'm
property,
telling you. Now,
but because of other people's property.
the other thing is that, now see, blight is really, see, we got all these empty, and that needs to be part of a platform. You know, man, I got a young guy who works for me, and I go up either Elm or Edgewood Avenue, and, you know, and I see all these empty houses, man, and that devalues the neighborhood.
And some of those are good housing
There's
stock.
some of them good houses, and some people with money, they can go in
Yeah.
and buy and improve the houses. But we can do a lot better.
Yeah. I want to ask you one other question, and this is, you said government can't do everything, but I think what government can do is make sure that the monies they're spending for goods and services, that they are fair and they're
And equitable.
and equitable.
Absolutely.
When I came in office, not to toot my own horn, but it was
It's everybody's tax money now.
Exactly. How are we doing locally? There's a big lot of projects. We're these SPLOST projects, man, school system, we're building $30 million, $40 million bill. Are we creating enough black millionaires and thousandaires out of this, as a result of all these projects
I
that's
think
going
it's
on?
one or two contractors, you know, who doing it. But no.
Well, you're an advocate for all of
Yeah,
small and
yeah,
large
yeah,
contracts.
yeah,
They're
I
all
know.
advertised.
No. We're not doing enough, but, you know, it's incumbent, you know. We have a Department of Minority Business Affairs that used to be bumpers.
Yeah.
They just put Sam
Sam
Henderson in charge of it. So, no, there needs to be more efforts toward that. No, it's not. It's not.
Now, what about a entrepreneur, if you will, an entrepreneur university? Because, you know, like you said, a lot of people don't have role models. They don't have money. The difficulty.
Project Hope got it.
Project Hope.
They're doing it right now over
Okay.
at Felton Homes.
Okay.
You know, if anybody's interested in learning more about it, they can give me a call at 478-464-0074. Downtown Macon has an entrepreneurial academy.
Incubators, incubators.
Well,
where you
they
can-
got, this is for training.
Okay.
But Newtown Macon got an incubator downtown, and they got several African American businesses already in it. So there are some resources available, but we have to take the initiative to find out what they are.
So if you had to encourage young people about politics, civic affairs, entrepreneurship, they say they won't leave here, nothing is here. Politics would be last, first, or someplace in between. You want to get your education first, of course.
Absolutely.
And then a job or create a job.
Right.
And politics is part of all that, but would
Absolutely.
you encourage young people to get involved in politics, would you?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, you know, you got to run and then you got to vote. You know, and because part of our predicament is because we don't see the value, and you know, people died so we have the right to vote. But you still got a lot of black folk who don't go to the poll and vote. And we could make a phenomenal difference if, in fact, particularly, well, all over the country, but, you know, we could make a phenomenal difference if we got involved in politics, made a decision on whom we wanted to support, and vote, and register and vote.
Yeah. What I've always liked about
Let
your...
me pay homage to somebody.
Yes.
Billy Young, man.
Yes.
Billy Young. You know, that comes to my mind that he put, when are you going to vote? You know, he made a song. He got a jingle.
I know, I remember
He got a
Billy.
jingle. So I just wanted to mention him because he doesn't get enough public credit.
We can't forget Billy,
what he
did in
Yeah,
this town.
yeah.
But Alex, let me thank you. We're out of time, and I'd like for you to come back because you have so much knowledge, so
We
much
have to.
information.
It's over?
Yeah, so much information. 30 minutes goes about fast when you're having fun, and I've really enjoyed speaking with you. I learned so much myself today that I didn't know, and I will continue to try to learn and try to continue to share. And thank you for what you do in this community and what you've done for so many people that we never know about, but what you've done and continue to do.
Thank you for what you do,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir.
We've been speaking with Alex Habersham, who is the founder of the Middle Georgia Black Pages. I can go on and on how many businesses he started. He said 10, probably more than that. We really check. But get in touch with him. His office is located on downtown, used to be Cotton Avenue. Now it's called the D.T. Walton Senior Way right there. Like you said, call him, stop by. He's always available to share with you and to let you know what's going on and to be frank with you. He will definitely be frank. So until next week, I'm your host, Jack Ellis. Goodbye.